everybody. I'm Cassidy, one of your Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders, and you're watching the Believe in Colts podcast.
Welcome back to Believe in Colts. I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, are my guys Jerraud Powers and Rodney McLeod. And ever since the NFL has ended, there has been nothing but speculation on top of speculation on top of speculation for every player in the NFL, whether you've got a massive contract going on right now or if you are just a free agent. When I say just, I mean you are a free agent and you're expected to go somewhere else possibly. But if you got a big contract, there's still speculation on whether or not you're going somewhere else, because that's what people like to do. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about quarterbacks and possible destinations. Where would be a good fit for some of these guys? Whether, they are technically a free agent, like a certain guy who got released by the Raiders, almost said Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders, or someone who is technically under contract right now, like say another quarterback over for Green Bay, right? Let's get into this a little bit. Jerraud, I'm gonna give you the floor first, man. You pick a quarterback, and you tell me if you think that they're going to stay where they're at or where they go, and where would be a good place for them to go.
Well, I think the main one that all the reports have been saying is, Derek Carr to New York. There's been reports saying that, they're telling him that he could possibly be a first ballot Hall of Famer and, trajectory is this and that, that I was reading. And, he already got released. So that might be a good fit for him with the struggles that they've been having. They need a gunslinger, somebody that can lead and throw the ball. They got a lot of good young talent. And I think that probably will be the best fit for New York is somebody like Derek Carr that, had a lot of success in this league, throw the ball for 4,000 yards every year seems like, got a good deep ball. And then when you look at the offense with the receivers that they got, the running backs, and, just the weapons that they have, that can end up being a very competitive, possibly dangerous team. That was their main issue this past season was just the struggles from the quarterback position. And I think Derek Carr can fix that. I think that'll be a good opportunity and a good fit for him.
Hey, I want to remind everybody that BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season, from the NBA, NFL, baseball, you name it, they've got it. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, well, continuing on with the Derek Carr thing, I've seen a lot of people, news and guys like us sitting there talking about, certain teams because of certain cities, whether it be media, fans, whatnot, that certain quarterbacks wouldn't be able to handle that situation, right? Rodney, is that a real thing? Is that where, where certain players can't handle, playing in a big market team like, say, the Jets or the Giants or something of that nature?
Yeah, I think that does have a huge effect, on players, in the mental aspect, and being in that huge market. There's always criticism that will be there, that will exist, whether you wanted to or not. Places like Philadelphia, both New York teams, and elsewhere, but those are the three that stand out to me the most. And, I've lived it for 6 years in Philly. And, it's truly like you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. There's always a storyline or headline going on that a lot of writers are searching for. And it adds a great deal of pressure. And, just like anything else, man, pressure, it creates diamonds or it bursts pipes. And so, it just all depends on your mental state. And how you're able to handle it. But being the quarterback, you're going to take a lot of the heat, but you're also going to get a lot of love, right? So, for me, I'm thinking otherwise. Like, I'm always thinking positive. Like, man, look, I do what I need to do. I'm gonna be loved here forever. And so that's a mentality that you have to have, but you have to know what comes with the territory, of course. And I think for, Jerraud, he's talking about Derek Carr. I'm going to go, another quarterback that I think could land with the Jets, and that's Aaron Rodgers. There's been a lot of speculations about him leaving, and I think his run may have come to an end in Green Bay, unfortunately, even though he's still on a contract. And then you have the connection with, Nathaniel Hackett that they're saying they hired, to try to be that connector between him and Aaron Rodgers to bring some comfortability for him to come over. I think that was a strategic play, and so we'll see how it plays out. But I think A-Rod might find himself in New York, and I think he's somebody that can handle that pressure.
See, I don't know if I'm gonna agree. I do think he can play in New York, but I think him and the media would hate each other just off of how Aaron's been the past, I would say, couple years in the media just from Green Bay standpoint. I mean, obviously he does the weekly show with Pat McAfee, and that's opened up.
It could be a play.
It could be a play because we never know what Aaron.
Like strategic.
It definitely could be a play. I can just see Aaron maybe having a bad stretch of games or something, and the media just, ripping him. And he's not the type that's just gonna sit there and let the media rip him. He's gonna fire back, and it could just become one of them situations. I don't know though. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I see Aaron somehow, some way falling to San Fran somehow, some way.
Whoa.
That wouldn't be bad either. But yeah, I think he could find himself close to a studio, if you know what I mean. And that's New York and that's California. So like those two in itself, it works out.
Oh my! Well, if Aaron ended up in San Fran, what happens with Trey? Did they just keep Trey sitting there for a few years underneath Aaron?
I think they're looking at it like their windows right now. They've been trying with Trey and Garoppolo, the past few years, and unfortunately Trey didn't get his opportunity because he got hurt. But he was definitely going to have his opportunity this year. But I think they're looking at it from a standpoint of like, man, we got the weapons in place. We got a great defense, like our window's right now. And everybody knows Aaron Rodgers' window is right now as well. He's on the latter end of his career, so he don't have time to kind of build or, restart anything. He wants to go somewhere to where he knows he'll be a contender immediately.
You don't think that
what about Purdy?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, what about Brock?
You don't believe in Purdy?
I believe in Purdy, but at that same token, I think Purdy's trajectory could, I think he could end up being even better than what he's already is if he can sit and kind of watch a great one in front of him, because he didn't really get that opportunity to really watch somebody and develop and learn some of the things that, could possibly ascend his career as well. But Purdy might be fine, but I mean, we know he's having elbow surgery as well, so we don't know how he's going to respond, to that situation as well.
Well, how about this with Green Bay? If you're the Green Bay GM, you don't want to trade him inside the conference, do you?
Business is business for the right price. I think you'll do whatever you got to do, at the end of the day.
Yeah, at least it's not the same division. I don't think you want to go, but the conference is a little different than the division. I'm not trying to see him twice a year, I tell you that.
I hear you. You don't want to see him in Tennessee, or something like that if you're a Colts fan. That's for darn sure. That's another big question. There's been a little talk about what's going to go on in Tennessee. And, is Ryan Tannehill going to still be there? Are they going to go up and grab somebody else? And I have thought about, man, what if I think Ryan Tannehill would be really good in New York. I really do. That's another situation. But with everything that's going on with the whole Derek Carr and the Jets, and they said, the meeting and everything went great and all that, that'd be wow.
I think Ryan Tannehill, there's just limitations there. And I think, New York is, like Jerraud said, is looking for somebody, a gunslinger. When you have the talent that they have on the outside and Garrett Wilson, Elijah in the slot, Elijah Moore, and the rest of those guys, then you need to find a quarterback who can get them the ball. and not only, in the screen game or underneath routes, but also stretch the field, and put stress on your defense. So I think they're looking for somebody, who can fit that role and allow their playmakers to showcase their true abilities.
Okay. So both of you are in agreement that you feel like the Jets are going to go after a veteran, stable quarterback rather than going after another young one like they have year after year after year after year.
I think so, just off of, and I think part of it is, like Rodney said, is just that pressure of being in a big market city. You would want some type of veteran that you feel can handle what's going to be thrown at him. I mean, obviously we saw with Zach Wilson that, he didn't handle the media, in a way that he should. It was a couple times he kind of threw his teammates under the bus, and that's part of the media, asking you certain questions in a way that you might, have to really think about what you say before you say it, because they will spin it in any type of way or any type of fashion that they can spin it. So I think you need a veteran quarterback that can just handle the youngness of that team. The leader of that team needs to be somebody that's established, somebody that's well respected, that the young guys can just follow their lead and follow their professionalism and all those type of things. Because if you put another young guy as your leader over there, you just no telling, the results that you will get at the end.
Good point.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we got a certain thing called the franchise tag out here, and getting ready to be able to drop those on people. Here's the big question. We got two quarterbacks out there right now in the league that there's probably going to be at least one of them going to be tagged. All right. We got Lamar Jackson with the Ravens. We got Daniel Jones with the Giants. Let's start off with Lamar Jackson. He's been trying to deal with a contract extension for over a year now. And, after what happened this past season, I am really curious to see how this all ends up playing out. What are your guys, Jerraud? What are your thoughts on that?
I think you got to pay him. And you got to pay him, what he wants at the end of the day. You got a player that we haven't seen before that can do some of the things that he can do. From a running standpoint, and I think he's an underrated passer. He just don't get the credit, that other quarterbacks get when it comes to his passing. But if you take Lamar Jackson, from the Ravens, obviously we saw what they look like without him this year with the games that he missed. But if you got a whole season, you got to revamp your whole roster if you take him away, because they're built right now to fit some of the strong skill sets that he brings to the table. I think you sign Lamar Jackson, give him what he wants, and you try to add some receivers that can go down and stretch the field and, take some pressure off loading the box on him to where he can kind of be the dynamic person that, that we've always known Lamar Jackson to be. They got some good running backs in place. You're just missing one or two just good receivers that can stretch the field and cause some pressure on defenses. And not everybody just sitting back with all eyes on Lamar. So I think you pay him. If you don't, I think you're setting, I ain't going to say setting your franchise back, but you're going to have more work to do with your roster if you don't pay him and let him, or don't pay him and you trade him or do whatever you're going to do. But he might get tagged and they figure out a deal then. But I definitely think that Lamar needs to be the franchise guy going forward in the future for the Ravens.
Rodney?
Pay the man. He paid a man. Like,
he's different, man. It's just different on the field with him.
He's due league MVP. He's the leader, clear leader of that team, that organization. He's been in the playoffs. He's a threat, not only in the run game, but pass game. But I think what you do is, like, to Jerraud's point, you have to surround him with just a few more weapons, right? Have those conversations with him and include them in that discussion on what do you need to be successful, right? Him, the offensive coordinator, GM, like, what do you need to be successful? And so I think Mark Andrews, as though he's a great outlet and a great tight end, it's so easy to, double team inside defenders. You need another threat on the outside to complement Andrews, but also the running game that they have. The effect of the running backs, but also the fact that Lamar Jackson can bring too. He's unaccounted for. And so, now you put true stress on the defense, right? Like you're going to load the box and you're going to play, the run game, or you aim to stop our weapons on the outside. I mean, you saw in college, he has the ability to throw the ball down the field. That's their MO, run, play action, attack, take shots down the field. So I think he's very deserving of an extended contract and not a 1 year prove it deal again. Like what more do you have to prove? You saw without him, what they look like. And with him, you ask any defender in this league, eight, what I'm saying, is circled on every single play.
Absolutely.
No
and like it makes you change your scheme so much, man. Like there's so much you have to prepare for. Like I remember the first time we played against him, we implemented, new defense pretty much to
stop him.
to stop him. And so that's how special he is, man. He has that impact. And so any team will be lucky to have him, but I think he's a great fit in Baltimore.
Oh yeah, the Colts the last couple of years have played him twice, and both games the Colts were up by 21 at one point in the game, and Lamar Jackson brought them back and won those games either at the end of the game or in overtime. So it is definitely time to pay that man. He's going to get his money, whether the Ravens decide to give him the money or not. He'll get it from somewhere. I'll guarantee that.
They gotta do the right thing.
Yeah, I think they will too. Moving on, Daniel Jones definitely had the best. Yeah, definitely had the best year of his career this past season. It was top 10 in just about every quarterback statistical stat there is. But rumor is the man wants $45 million a year, and the tag this year is for him would be about 34. I don't know. The rumor is the Giants want to keep Daniel Jones. They want to keep Saquon and Jones. But I don't know if you can pay both these guys, the amount of money that both of these guys want. Jerraud?
I think he's going to get a lot of money, don't get me wrong. But I think it'll be like he's asking for 45, his tag somewhere between 34, 35. Maybe they meet somewhere in the middle. Because if that's what the market, says, that's just what it is. And that don't necessarily mean that his play is worth, $40 million a year, $45 million a year, even though he had a great year last year. But if that's the business side of it. But from Daniel's perspective, he has to understand, all right, we got Saquon up too. We're building something special. We made it to the playoffs. If I take a team-friendly type deal, we'll be able to keep Saquon and add some other pieces. So he got to kind of look at it from, like, what do I really want to do? Do I want to just cash out and get as much as I can, which I don't fault him. As a player, I don't fault you trying to get every single dollar that you can possibly get while you're playing. But, like I said, from his standpoint, he's going to make a ton of money regardless. And if he want to build something and get back in the playoffs, and if you look at that division, the Cowboys will still be there. Philly's going to be there for a long time. And you got Washington that's going to be there. And if he want to keep the Giants kind of ahead of schedule, I think he's going to have to take a team-friendly deal so they can get some other players in that building to help better their situation.
Rodney, you already gave us a little bit of your thoughts, but you want to expand on that a little?
Yeah, for me, I understand the market is the market, right? You can't get around that. And he had an incredible year, very timely for him as he's approaching free agency, and might deserve to get paid. But if I'm the Giants, man, there's a couple of things that I'm thinking about, and that's do I really want to invest long term when I haven't seen much of Daniel Jones and consistency there, and one key game you point to, right, is the playoff game versus the Eagles. And when they try to lean on Daniel Jones a lot more, how effective were they? as a true passer. And then when you think about you paying now your quarterback, do you now adjust in the way that you utilize your quarterback for his health and availability, right? Because there's no way that you want your top investment to be sitting on the sidelines and put him at great risk, right? Daniel Jones, he's a bigger guy, but he has been very effective with his legs this particular season and in that Minnesota playoff game. But I think when you talk about him as a true passer, I think there are limitations there. And so you just have to figure out whether or not you've seen enough to make that sort of, pay him that amount that he's requesting, or are you a little more hesitant and reserved? And do you think about tagging him maybe for 1 year and seeing whether or not he holds true or not?
And a lot of times it'd be strategic when those numbers get thrown out there because, like, from your representatives, your agents, or whoever's running your business, you're not going to just come out and say, hey, we're looking for a team-friendly deal. You're going to throw out the highest number possible just to see if they're going to bite for one, but to also not to let them know what you're really thinking or what you really would take on the low end or whatever it may be. So that's kind of normal for me, I guess, to me, to hear like a high number like that, because obviously, we know that's coming from Daniel's representatives, and they're not going to, sell him any dream short of that just to throw it out to the media like that.
So and then you have to look at, before you go, Law, and then you have to look at, all right, if you don't bring Saquon back, how does that rushing attack complement Daniel Jones
quarterback,
and to the quarterback? So there's a lot to your point, right? You're asking for a great deal of money, but you have to know a key ingredient to your success is 26. And so if I'm Daniel Jones, I want to get paid, but I also know I need my guy.
And at that same token, from the Giants' perspective, when it comes to Saquon, been battling injuries the past few years. We know the limit. We know the shortcomings when it comes to running backs and the years that they have left. You already hear the chatter about Zeke, don't got much left in Dallas and things like that. So, when you're talking about Saquon, do you want to give him top dollar? Knowing like, hey, from the looks of it or the statistics or the analytics, whatever the word is I'm looking for, it don't look great. It don't look great far as the future of what you got left. So I think both guys are going to have to sit down and kind of come to some type of agreement with one another to, take deals to where they're going to get paid, make a lot of money, but you just might not be the highest paid at your position, which is fine. But, us football players, we got egos. And a lot of times when you're trying to get paid, you're trying to set a mark to where, I'm the highest paid, at my position and setting a bar, because say Daniel does sign for $45 million. Who's ever the next quarterback up is not taking nothing less than $45 million. So that's how it goes.
Exactly.
Sam Darnold's like, I want $45 million.
And you're looking at statistics and everything as you go into conversations and negotiations. That's real.
But at the same time, we talk about, Saquon Barkley having a little bit of an injury history and how, the longevity of running backs and things of that nature. I'll guarantee every single player, coach, and fan for the San Francisco 49ers is all good about what they gave up to get CMC, and what he produced over there this past season. So,
but to even say that, CMC went to a good situation, though. CMC didn't go to a team that, missing a wide receiver, a team that don't got a good defense, a team that don't got a good offensive line. CMC went to a team that was already one of the better teams in the NFL. So I think that move just helped him just because he hasn't been around that many great pieces, in his whole career, which that also helps your career and longevity as well.
Yeah.
I can play running back for a long time if I got a great offensive line.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because he was great when he was on the field with the Panthers, right? It's just the injury
over
thing,
time.
Speaking of the Panthers, one last note that I'd like to talk about on this episode: the Carolina Panthers, right? Frank Reich. We got The quarterback sitting over there right now, Phillip Walker, Sam Darnold, Matt Corral. I mean, do you think they go after one of these? I mean, Frank Reich, I don't how much of it was Frank Reich when he was the tenure with the Colts of going out and getting a veteran quarterback every year instead of getting or was that, Ballard? Does Frank Reich have his eye on maybe an Aaron Rodgers or something?
No, I would if I'm Frank Wright or if I'm anybody in the Panthers organization that got a say in that. I'm trying to build through the draft right now, just because I got plenty of pieces that I just don't have to be the team that I envision us to be or the team that I want us to be. So if I was to go get an Aaron Rodgers right now, Aaron Rodgers is going to be upset and calling people out in the media within 3-4 weeks of the season just because we don't got what he needs to, I guess, be successful or whatnot. So if I'm the Panthers, I got some young pieces. I got a couple good guys on defense that's doing their thing or whatnot. Got a couple, guys on offense that we can work with. It's just so much that they need right now that I don't think it's just one person that they're missing that'll take them over the hump. So if that's the case, I feel like, hey, if I'm Frank White, new coach, just got here, you're going to give me time to kind of build this thing up rather than, hey, we want to win the Super Bowl right now, which that's going to be everybody's dream and goal, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're like one player away from getting to that level. I think there are multiple players.
Well, I mean, you got, I don't know. I would think that maybe having, investing in a veteran quarterback while getting all your young pieces in other places through the draft, having that veteran quarterback to be that leader on the team, right? That might help.
I mean, look at the Indianapolis Colts 2011. We had veteran pieces and some young pieces when we went through that 3-13 year or whatnot. Mm-hmm. They didn't think twice about going to get a veteran quarterback. It was Andrew Luck. Like, we're going through the draft. We're going to do this thing with Andrew Luck. And if you get the quarterback that kind of come in and I guess can be halfway of what you thought that you were drafting, you can put some pieces around him to where you can be successful enough and still make the playoffs and still be competitive and still do what you got to do as a team or whatnot. But I feel like if Derek Carr goes to the Carolina Panthers, they're still going to be the same old Carolina Panthers, in my opinion.
Rodney?
I think, I don't know if you go for more of the, I guess, tier one, QBs, right?
That's what I'm talking.
Yeah. If you do have any interest in seeking somebody that just came to mind was, Heinicke. He's a free agent this year, and there's no question what Washington is going to do right now over there. Now bringing over Eric B. and Carson Wentz, situation. So there's been reports about, them possibly, reviving Carson and allowing him to be the QB, or, who knows. But I think that's somebody that you could probably bring in at a lesser cost, possibly, or, you ride things out with Sam Darnold and you try to work through him. And as Jerraud's point, draft and you build up. But they do have, DJ Moore over there as a receiver. Not sure who else is sitting over there, but, they have some pieces. I know Frank's probably, is going to be at it, already working towards building that offense, back up. I'm sure they have a plan of attack in mind, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And the AFC South is kind of wide open. Atlanta needs a quarterback. New Orleans is still,
they're all quarterback lists over there now.
Yeah, and NFC South is kind of wide open right now.
Yeah, and the departure of Tom Brady to Tampa. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's another free agent out there, Baker Mayfield, right?
They're not going to bring him back. They got rid of him.
Yeah, well, I mean, where do you think Baker ends up going?
I don't know.
The South looks good, for availability for sure. But I don't know if it's going to be back with Carolina.
Like Rodney said, like a lot of teams have it to where it's like in tiers. Like it's tier 1 players, tier 2 players, tier 3 players. and you're going to try to, get the best that you can get initially. But after the dominoes start falling, you're kind of like, all right, yeah, we'll take Baker now, or we'll take, because all those guys have shown that they can, lead a team. They can start at quarterback. They can play on this level. So when you look at Baker, I think Baker would be one of those signings that might be in the summertime, a month or two out before training camp, something like that, to where he kind of finds his team, finds his role, and, go from there.
You think Baker Mayfield would fit in the offensive system with Tampa Bay? They're needing a quarterback.
I don't know what their offense is going to look like, though.
Yeah, Byron Leftwich left, so
yeah. I just don't know what they're going to look like. I mean, they got pieces. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you got Mike Evans, Godwin, and all these guys. They got some pieces over there.
Yeah.
But system is everything too. Coaching is everything too. So I'm just not sure what they're going to look like. All
right. Well, we're going to keep our ears to the grindstone, our nose to the grindstone, ears to the ground, I guess. I don't know, wherever, try to keep an eye on what's going on throughout the NFL. And we'll definitely have our opinions on everything as it happens. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Lawrence Owen with Jerraud Powers and Rodney McLeod. This was Believe in Colts, brought to you by Bet Online. And as usual, go Colts.
Do you believe?